This is part 3 of this latest Spire tutorial series. In this episode, we are going to add some data to our card. For this, we need a proper card architecture. Let's go! In the first episode, we have already created the card view. In this episode, we will create the card and the card data. Let's create the folders first. We need the data folder and the models folder. First, let's create the card data. The card data will be a scriptable object. We need a create asset menu attribute at the top so that we can create instances of the card data in Unity. Then we of course need some fields for the data. The title will be the name of the scriptable object, so we don't need it here. What we need is the description, the mana, and the image. We will have effects and other stuff here later as well, but for now those 3 fields are enough. In the models folder we create the card script. Why is this script important and why we don't just create the prefabs out of our data? Well, it has a simple but important reason. The card is actually an object like the card view. But other than the card view, it does not live in a scene, but just as an object referenced somewhere. The card view is nice for our cards in hand, but what about cards that are in the deck? They are not visible to us and also not in the game world. You now maybe think, so why don't we have a deck out of our card datas? Well, imagine that you have the same card twice in your deck. You then play a card that reduces the cost of a random card. Now you have one copy of the card with normal mana cost and the other with reduced mana cost. Things like this are possible with C# objects, but not with scriptable objects. If you change the cost of the scriptable object, all cards that use this object will have this new changed mana. But enough talking, let's implement it. We delete the mono behavior and also all the methods, and then we create a constructor. The constructor takes our card data. We should save the reference to the card data in the model for values that never change. So for the title, for example, we will not set the value, but we will just return the title value of the data. Same for description and sprite. Those things should never change, at least not in my design. Maybe in your card game you want to change them at runtime. Feel free to do that. We do something different for the mana cost. We make it a property and set it in the constructor. Now, if we ever change the mana value, it is only changed for this card instance. In the card view, we can add a setup method that will take a card and set up the card view with the data of the card. We also want to hold a reference to the card for later. In the setup method, we set the text and image of the view. Now in the card view creator, we can also call the setup method of the card view so that our card views always come initialized. We have to pass the card to the creator when we call the create method. In the test system, we now have to add an inspector field for our data and create an object from that data. We then pass it to the creator. The last thing we have to do is to create our actual data. For this, we make a new data folder in the assets folder. There we make a cards folder and with right-click data card, we can create a new data. We call it Fireball. We give it a description and a mana cost. We also add our Fireball sprite. Now reference the data in the test script and hit play. Now our cards finally have data. Great. But we cannot really read it as it's off screen. It would be nice to have a hover state so that when we hover the card, we can see a larger version of it. Let's create that in the next episode. If you enjoy the videos, help me with a sub and a like. Thank you for watching and see you next time.